Welcome everyone back to school. I know you're ready to have a great year here at Jessamine. I just was going to make a real quick video of how to reset up your classrooms and to welcome you back, and for the new people, so you just kind of know what you have available as far as your teacher setup. This is how I'm going to try and do all of our training this year. I'm going to try and do some videos and post them to our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below and click the bell so you can get notifications when I post new videos. I'm also going to put them in the Google Classroom. So let's get going, and I'll show you everything that you should have in your classroom and everything that you'll need to set up and how your classroom's set up. All right. As far as coming back for school, this is all the equipment that you should have in your classroom readily available. If your classroom was taken apart to do the floors this summer, you may have to search for some of it. So we'll just start over here on the left and work to the right, just so you have a good description of what it is. This is the power brick for the amplifier. This is for your classroom audio system. Every one of them should look like this. It'll be a little 90-degree style setup with a little barrel plug on the end of it. And of course, if you're in the elementary, you're just used to seeing the front side of this. Most people should just be used to seeing the front side of this. This is your amplifier for your speakers. Of course, it's got the volume and power on and off and everything on here. And then on the back side is where your connections go. And I'll show later in the video, but there's wires that come down the wall in the high school that you'll have to plug into these respective ports in the back. Of course, you have your power input here. These two will go to a RCA to headphone jack adapter, which is this cable here. Those just hook in to their colors like this. And then the other side goes into the headphone jack in the back of the dock. Speaking of the dock, this is your laptop dock. Most of you should be used to seeing the front side of this, but on the back side is the power connection, the USB cable that goes out to your laptop. This is a monitor connection, but most of them are not used. These are HDMI cables, or HDMI inputs, or outputs. Every one of your classrooms should have at least one of these, if not one of the DVI style, which is a wider plug, but it's still a multi-pin plug. It'll be wider and a little shorter, won't have the little cable in between. But that plugs into your VGA cable that comes down the wall, and then just plugs into the dock. Fairly straightforward. This next jack here is your network cable. So if you have a network cable close by, it'll come down and plug into there. These next two ports should be familiar to you. They are a standard USB connection. That's where you will hook your keyboard, and if you have a wired mouse, that's where it'll go. And then this is your headphone jack connection that goes over to your amp. Of course, you're used to seeing this end of this cable. This is the cable that goes from the dock on this end to the laptop on the other end. And of course, the power bricks, which y'all have a power brick like this for your laptop. But the ones for the dock, if you end up having to look for it, are square, more this shape, with the Dell logo and everything on the back of it. Of course, you're all very familiar with this, the remote for your projector. These have a tendency to walk off during the summer. I still have yet to figure out why that is, but if you can't find it, please try and find it, but I do have a few in the office if we need them. All right, next, our document camera, which I'll show you how to get everything connected up here, but just so you know what it is. And then, of course, the power brick, and this one's missing the power cord to it, but the power brick for the document camera, still just standard. I think a lot of them are actually straight, whereas this one's a 90. Of course, keyboard. Every classroom should have that. Of course, everyone should have a Bluetooth mouse. For the new people, might have to find it. It's probably hidden in your classroom somewhere. And next, every setup, I left the monitor. Now, there's reasons I left the monitor that I'll cover in a later video as we get into school. But each one of these monitors should have either a VGA or DVI cable. The main difference between the VGA cable and the DVI is the VGA is a smaller connector, whereas the DVI is bigger. And of course, all the VGAs should either be blue or black, and the DVIs will be white. And then, of course, the power for the monitor. All of this will be used in your setup in your classroom. Every classroom has got the same equipment. We've tried to make it pretty standard, trying to make everything easier on us and easier on you. So next we'll show you how to set it up for the elementary setup and the high school setup videos. They are a little bit different because elementary have built-ins, whereas the high school still does not. But we'll cover those differences in the next section of this video. All right, so this is your typical high school setup. It'll have, your dock and your amp here, but coming down over here on the wall will be the projector connection and the connection for the speakers. So what you'll typically have to do on these is you'll have to come in here, take these speaker wires and go to the back of the amp. And most of them will have a red and a black connection. So you just plug them into the red and the black connections on the back of the amp. So the way you do that is you pull down the little tab and stick the red wire in for the red side, and pull the black tab down and stick the black wire in for the black side. Now, on a lot of them, you'll probably need to, before you do that connection, grab the wire and do a couple twists. This will help to align the wires back together and make it a little easier to get inside the connection on the back of the amp. So again, for the left side, pull the black down, stick it in, pull the red down and stick it in. Now on some of them, depending on how far it was tore down, you may have to connect this 1/8 inch jack or 3.5 millimeter jack to RCA connection on the back. That cable runs from these inputs here over to the back of the dock. Another cable that you'll typically have to plug in would be the power for the amp, and it just plugs in right here. So this one's already plugged in. All right, now for the VGA connection, you'll take the wire that runs down the wall, and it should have one of these adapters on it, or unless it was left on the dock. Just make sure you have this one, because you'll have to have that adapter to plug it in. But you take it and you plug it into the back of the dock, into one of the HDMI ports. Now in a lot of the classrooms you may have to, as I said before, depending on how far it was tore down, you'll have to reconnect all these cables. Now they only go one spot. This first one down here is the power. This is the cable to connect the laptop to. And then of course the two HDMI adapters, one for the monitor and one for the VGA connection over to the projector. On the front you should have one of your Mimeo connection. It should always be there. And then you just need to make sure that the power strip that you have is plugged into the wall. So you have your network, your VGA, your mouse and keyboard connections. All right, another thing you might have to connect would be your phone. Your phone should just be able to take the network jack from the very back on the outside edge, plugs into there, and then just plugs into one of the jacks in the wall. For the document camera, you're basically only going to have two cables. Either you'll have a VGA cable similar to the one that come down the wall at the computer setup, a USB cable if it's sitting next to the computer on the same desk and you run it through the software, or you will have an RCA connection. which is typically either a single or multi-cable type setup. It's just got the round barrel connector type in. And that'll be in most of the classrooms. That connection is typically in a little bit different location than the computer, and you just take it and plug it in directly to the back of the document camera. And you're done. Outside of making sure that the Mimeo is on the board and in place, and making sure that its power cable is plugged in, everything should be set at this point. You should be able to have class in the high school. All right. For the elementary setup, it's really fairly simple and straightforward. You just need to make sure that your phone is plugged in and powered on, and so you just make sure that the network cable is plugged into the outer, the jack closest to the outside of the phone, and is plugged into one of the network cables, network connections on the wall. As far as for the teacher setup, you just need to make sure that the power line that comes out of the bottom or the side of the table is plugged into the wall. And that's it. Your other cable should be out, ready to go to hook your laptop in, as long as the lights are on the front of the dock and on the front of the amp whenever you switch it on. Everything should be good to go. Okay, for setting up your document camera, you'll need three things: the document camera, power cord, and either the VGA cable or the RCA cable, which is in most classrooms, that comes down the wall. So you'll take your power cord, unravel it, plug the adapter into the power input over here on the back, and then take the RCA cable, run it down the wall, and plug it in to the RCA connection on the back of the dock, or the back of the document camera. Then of course take the other end of the power brick and plug it into your outlet in the wall, and then all should be good and ready to go as soon as you're connected up. Alright guys, so that's how everything should be set up in your classroom. If you have any trouble, please do not hesitate to put in a ticket at tech@jsdalliance.net. That way the ticket will get generated and I'll be able to communicate back and forth with you. Please remember, as we go through the school year, if you have anything that's a problem, you just got a question about something, email me or email Chris, or you can email support@jsdalliance.net, and I'll go to both of us. We'll answer as quickly as possible. But if something's broke, missing keys on Chromebooks, something going on kind of weird with your laptop, please do not hesitate to put in a ticket. That's what that system's there for, so that I know how to take care of you and how to help you in your classroom. So again, look forward to future videos as we go through the school year, and have a great year.